Hollywood has many beautiful love stories, but one that lasted over 2 decades and never ended is unsettling. Diane Keaton and Al Pacino, two movie legends forever bound to The Godfather, and two souls who could never meet, tell their love tale. Diane Keaton, a clever, strong, and fearless muse, proposed to Al Pacino because she loved him. Pacino, the man with dreamy eyes and an uncertain heart, turned aside and left silently. Used to live together, once made quiet vows and cried together. Each eventually went their own way. No wedding, no closure, just a peculiar relationship that lasts. Comment below if you've appreciated Diane Keaton, the emblem of brilliance and independence, or Al Pacino's uncompromising look, and help us unearth the Spotlight's narrative. Unnamed affection. An unfinished breakup. How much did Diane Keaton suffer? What made Al Pacino, who declared, "I love you forever," lose her? We must look back before Diane Keaton and Al Pacino met to understand why their relationship never ended, to the childhood and artistic travels that silently shaped their love and release. Diane Keaton was born in Los Angeles to Catholic conservatives. Dorothy, her mother, won a hometown beauty pageant but gave up her stage career to be a full-time mother. Her father was a civil engineer. Diane swore she would never live like a dazzling woman confined in a kitchen as a child. Diane was a free lady, aggressive and assertive from a young age, intimidating many guys. Diane was susceptible because of her mother's damaged shadow. She wanted complete love, a lasting affection, not a fleeting one, a home, a partner, confidence in artistic unpredictability. Al Pacino's eyes showed her that, or so she thought. However, Al Pacino told a different tale. He was born to poor Italian-American parents in East Harlem. He was 2 when his parents split. Rose, his single mother, worked part-time in a tiny Bronx apartment to raise him. Pacino has no family model. Instead, he grew up around city streets, old movie houses, and little theaters, where he first felt at home. His love for the stage began early, but he never committed to anything else. To keep acting, Pacino was dismissed from school, worked as a cinema usher, delivered newspapers, and slept in parks. His shell formed from survival in that planet. He was kind, yet distant, deep but remote. Above all, he feared attachment. Pacino thought attachment meant losing independence. To him, only freedom kept him alive. One wants to stay, the other runs. Both in love, lonely, and unable to love without hurting themselves. It wasn't just two young stars cast in a masterpiece when they met on The Godfather set in 1971. There were two spirits, long removed from salvation, suddenly recognizing each other at first look. Unfortunately, fate sometimes gives people hope only to break them. He mentioned wanting Pacino fired and out. His insecurity kept them disliking him. On The Godfather set in 1971, Diane Keaton and Al Pacino met. Neither was famous at the time. While Pacino was a new Broadway star, Keaton was an independent comedy actress. In the pressure cooker of a classic mafia film, something softly began when their eyes met. This wordless connection was powerful and fragile, as if fate had started crafting a story for them beyond the camera's frame. Diane Keaton has said in interviews that she loved Pacino from the start. Was crazy for him, she claimed. He was nice and witty. He was unusually beautiful and chatted incessantly. He resembled a lost child or insane genius, unable to look away. Pacino, however, spoke little. He never openly confessed his love for Keaton. Whoever views behind-the-scenes film or listens to friends' experiences can sense it. They shared a gravitational force neither could describe, not only physical attraction or professional concord. Their silent affection grew as they watched The Godfather Part 2 and Part 3. In the 1970s, they loved, broke up, and reunited, as if they couldn't let go. At that point, Diane Keaton understood. Pacino wasn't only her childhood crush. Because of her delicate devotion, she waited nearly 20 years for an answer. The answer never arrived. The worst part was Pacino knew. However, he remained deep, intriguing, distant, and uncommitted. That, more than anything, made it a constant chase, with Diane always chasing. Diane Keaton and Al Pacino's romance was unique. It didn't make headlines. No red carpet photos or engagement announcements revealed affection. However, it persisted over 2 decades, silently and chaotically, like a melody with no last note, playing, fading, and starting again. They started dating in secret after working on The Godfather. In their off time, Keaton had other relationships. After living with Woody Allen, she dated Warren Beatty and Mel Gibson. Her heart would never forget Pacino. She stated, "The Godfathers, all 3, were about Al." Al Pacino kept avoiding commitment. His relationships, especially Diane's, were constantly divided. Always thinking it was the last time, they broke up and rejoined. Industry insiders said only Keaton had the patience to calm Pacino when he was tense, not pressure him, and wait for something she knew might never come. In the late 1980s, while filming The Godfather Part 3 in Rome, everything changed. They stayed at the same villa, and everyone thought Pacino would propose to Keaton after all these years. But reality changed. Diane threatened him with marriage or death. Al Pacino didn't pick her. A fight didn't conclude the story, but in terrible quiet. Diane became depressed and sat in treatment while her father was diagnosed with a brain tumor, while Pacino simply left, never looking back. She replied, "I kept asking him things when asked about the incident. Wanted more. I wanted his love like mine. And that was tragedy. Too much love can drive someone away." If Diane Keaton and Al Pacino's love were a song, it would be a solo, with one performing forever as the other gently leaves the stage. Because at the heart of their relationship, Keaton always moved forward, hoped, and was ready. Pacino was pleased and touched, but he stood frozen, watching love pass him by. Diane called Pacino a brilliant lost soul who was intelligent, seductive, contradictory, and never let anyone close. She called him lovely, a smart fool, and the most beautiful face I've ever seen. However, none of those words could bind a heart that was never ready. Pacino never married, not because he didn't love, but because he didn't see a permanent conclusion. In a later interview, Diane said she didn't have the nurturing instinct or stability to be a good life partner. She didn't realize that overloving produced the deepest pains. And Pacino? He never married. He had 4 children with 3 women, but never got married. Friends said Pacino feared losing his freedom, and that marriage would spoil something lovely. He may have also known he couldn't love someone enough to commit, or in a normal way. Diane Keaton never kept her lover after 20 years. Pacino never held a woman's heart long enough to develop anything durable. They both lost, but differently. When love ended in rejection, the one who stayed carried everything. Diane played independent, witty, free-spirited woman with a quiet loneliness. Al Pacino carried that emptiness to large platforms, and even in his 80s, he doesn't belong. Al Pacino and Diane Keaton dissolved their relationship without a third party, controversy, or divorce papers, simply one person stepping back out of fear of commitment, and the other letting go. After the lights went off and the applause ended, the true question remained: who lived more fully afterward? Diane Keaton never dated publicly again after her Pacino breakup. She's been unmarried for 35 years and adopted a girl and a boy in her 50s. In one interview, she said, "No one proposed to me. Maybe they realized I'm difficult to live with." She also said, "I'm glad I didn't get married." Diane Keaton became one of Hollywood's most accomplished women, winning Oscars, Golden Globes, and AFI Awards without a boyfriend. She represented mature beauty, acute intellect, and unparalleled individualism. Though love harmed her, she never lost her humor or self-confidence. What about Keaton's proposal to Al Pacino? He also never married, but he has 4 kids from 3 women. Only her relationship with Beverly D'Angelo lasted more than a few years, producing twins Anton and Olivia. Like unfinished film scenes, Martha Keller, Lucilla Pollock, and Noor Al-Fala, mother of his youngest kid, born in 2023, passed. Pacino replied quietly, "I avoid doorways that may cause suffering," when asked why he never married. A simple but frightening sentence. He may have kept his distance because he realized he couldn't make someone happy. Keaton chose isolation. Pacino chose unattachment. Only one ever cried over a lost love in a therapist's office. Only one stood on stage and proclaimed, "I love you forever," in front of thousands of fans and an industry at large. Perhaps the winner is the one who kept their cool. They hurt more because they loved more. Showbiz is boisterous and transient, so it's rare for a relationship to go from love to heartbreak, and then quietly develop into profound respect and lasting connection. Still, Diane Keaton and Al Pacino did it. They no longer loved or were traditional friends. They were the only witnesses to a chapter no one else could understand, but their friendship remained steadfast, as if no split had ever occurred. At the 2017 American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Awards for Diane Keaton, Al Pacino appeared. It had been nearly 30 years since they had loved, but Pacino's eyes seemed to erase time that night. He talked about Keaton's laughs before interviews, Rome recollections, and behind-the-scenes details they exchanged. After finishing his speech, he paused to breathe, then exclaimed, "I love you forever," to the entire room. Diane Keaton smiled without crying, possibly because she had cried enough. Their friendship rarely makes headlines. Dinner dates and red carpet walks are not photographed. Both still praise each other in interviews. Keaton called Pacino the most beautiful face she had seen. Pacino called Keaton a unique, unpredictable, and lively woman. When love no longer works, friendship may be the only way to stay together. They selected that, not to injure each other again, go back, or deny the past. They parted ways, but never lost touch. Love ended. Al Pacino and Diane Keaton never fully parted ways. Diane Keaton and Al Pacino's doomed romance is a sign of a generational tragedy when 2 people who are too extraordinary, independent, and ambitious try to love each other in a society without compromise. Keaton and Pacino were propelled by inner lives and early emotional wounds. Keaton, whose mother was ambitious but never got her due, had a lifetime fixation with proving herself in art and personal identity. She wanted to be adored, yet feared mediocrity and control. Pacino, on the other hand, was fatherless, lived in poverty in the Bronx, and wandered New York looking for stage jobs. He always thought love could imperil his freedom, a price too high for a steadiness he felt was strange to him. Keaton wanted a home, while Pacino wanted to be alone. Keaton said, "I admired Pacino because he symbolized a lost soul who needed saving." Pacino valued Diane, but never stated he would change or lose part of himself for love. Art brought them together, but their fixation with roles, jobs, and creative independence kept them apart. Each continued on their own course. Diane represented autonomous women, never requiring a man. Pacino became more withdrawn and free to the point of solitude, a man who belonged only to the screen. And perhaps that was a fate both of them had long sensed, that a great love does not always lead to a great career, that some people are born to love each other deeply, but never meant to live together. Hollywood superstars. Diane Keaton and Al Pacino loved one another like few do. With honesty, years of waiting, private loneliness and difficult choices. They went nowhere. No happy ending or wedding was captured. Only, I love you forever. Was it a deep love or a dream only Diane Keaton entered while Pacino stood outside? Would you consider it love or a mistake if someone you proposed to leaves without saying a word? If someone still uses misty eyes to talk about you 20 years later, was it real or just regret? Their relationship ended, but they never parted. Even though she's been unmarried for over half her life, Diane Keaton has never been replaced in Al Pacino's heart or made to talk as much in interviews. Some loves don't require titles, some endings don't need marriages, and some hurts never ended or never began. What do you think? Did Diane Keaton love the wrong man or the right one at the wrong time? Would you wait again if you were in that story? Comment below to show that love may continue after someone departs. It starts when we have the confidence to keep walking with an open heart. Please subscribe to our channel to avoid missing the next emotional story.